All right, guys, today is Thursday, June 20th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 233. Kind of unusual today. Instead of us all being in various locations, we're all sitting in the same room in Cocoa, Florida. We're in the middle of our quarterly partners meeting, and anything you want to share with us, we are open. We do have 5 people in the queue, which is great. Anything you guys want to share, or get right to the queue? As always, try to get in the queue early. Hit *6 and hit 1, and do that now. We usually turn it off about 1:30, so got plenty of time. And first up this week.
I have something.
Oh, Chad wanted to share something before we go to the first caller.
So I didn't get the emails out on Friday. I thought I did, but I misfired. So Probate Mastery will be June 25th, 26th, 27th. An email went out this morning, and you'll also see a post on our Facebook group. So if you're waiting on Mastery, it is scheduled for next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting at 2 Eastern and running to 5 or 6 each day. So, and we are ready for the first
All
question.
right, first caller, phone number ending in
7448. You're up. 7448.
Hi, I'm Steve from, I work out of Carmel. I live in Indianapolis. And I received a letter from an attorney who happens to be a personal rep in a probate case in Marion County. And it's her brother, and she's not the attorney on the probate. That's another person. But she sent me a nice letter. Well, not really. I'm being sarcastic. It says, Mr. Tucker, I scarcely have the words to express my outrage over your unsolicited advertisement for real estate services following my appointment as personal rep for my brother's estate. You obviously trolled the probate docket looking for clients, which should be outlawed. Well, obviously, if I ever sold this house, you would not be given the listing. Then she went on to denigrate our MLS, talking about how they advocated for this thing called the red line, which she says is a waste of taxpayer money motivated by the desire to funnel federal money to developers and contractors, so you're wasting your time for this reason as well. How do I address that other than maybe send her a sympathy card and, explain how I'm not trying to I don't troll the probate circuit, and what do you suggest?
You can respond to her, and this is for, I guess my advice is driven by, if you feel like you haven't shaken this and it's kind of sticking to you, sit down and write her a letter and show her what your true intent was. If it has already rolled off your back, just forget it and move on. But if I guess I'll say this, be honest with yourself. If you believe what she's saying, then sit down and write out why you're doing what you're doing and what you really have to offer the community. And that'll remind you why you're doing what you're doing and what you have to offer the community. And you can send it to her, or you can just write it for the exercise. But, no one can ever provide a service that pleases everybody. And people will always have, their own opinions of what we do. And so you're going to find this every once in a while. But if it's not bothering you, just let it go. If it is bothering you, respond to her. Worst case scenario, she understands your perspective, and it tells her that her perception isn't necessarily the facts.
Right, and that's why I feel compelled to do send her a letter along with a sympathy card, and I don't want to.
So I'll caution you to exclude the sympathy card. You're going to pour salt in a wound, because if you didn't know her brother, she's going to take that. That's going to be an emotional hit to her, and it's just going to fuel the fire. So empathy is necessary and crucial. Sympathy only has its place if you knew the deceased, in my opinion.
Right. I got you. All right. Well, good point. I appreciate that. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah.
all right. Well, you got the lightning strike. We often see that. You could probably go your whole career and never have that happen again. So hopefully,
well, I've been in the mortgage business for 19 years, so it has rolled off my back. It's not a problem there, but I just felt compelled to address it somehow, so she doesn't think I'm a troll.
It happened to me once, and it was a very experienced broker in my market and she did the same thing. She hit me in writing. She didn't call me. And I did kind of believe it. I'm like, wow, am I really the asshole she thinks I am? And I sat down, immediately sat down and wrote her a handwritten letter. And when I got done, I felt really good about what I was doing. I dropped it in the mail. 2 days later, I got the phone call. She thanked me for what I was doing and apologized for misperceiving my whole business and my approach. And we've done a lot of deals since then. We're friends and colleagues. So that's why I always try to recommend people do it. You never know. I mean, she might call back and be in a completely different mood and say, you know what, you're right. Thanks for recalibrating me. I do need some help with X, Y, or Z. Probably not, but there's always a chance, right?
Yeah, there's still, she doesn't like my bore for some reason because of the red line, but anyway. All right, thanks, Chad. Appreciate the tip.
Awesome, guys. Great job today. We got 7 in the queue, and I've hardly had to beg at all. That's great. You guys are actively participating. Next up is phone number ending in 3605. You're up next.
Good morning. It's Joyce Arnson Morris calling from Orange County, California.
Where you been, Joyce? We haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I've been calling and calling, or at least I've been trying to call. And I just had to get through all of these before I called you because I don't know if it's my market or what, but out of 124 leads this past month, I had 8 that were not do not call. And
are you saying
2 of them were bad numbers, and 2 of them were attorneys.
so? Are you avoiding calling all the others?
I'm avoiding calling the do not call because you put on the website the warnings about calling do not call people.
Yep.
So
that's something that, we as a company running a call center, we have a much bigger bullseye on our back than any individual agent does. It's something that we had to do to protect our assets, and we decided to offer it to you guys because some people don't want to call them, but I think most people make they assess their personal risk as an individual practitioner and make the calls anyways. I think you'll probably find most people on this call see that, and the opinion of most attorneys is this person is a public representative. They have put their number in public record, and they're there to represent that estate. So most attorneys give us the opinion that, it's okay to call them. It's not a solicitation. They are a representative. In the over 5 million phone calls, we've never had a single member or subscriber get a formal complaint. But there are wheels in motion that are aiming more at the companies that are running call centers and providing services. So it's something we did to protect, a bigger business than one agent, and they're going to enforce at that level, not at the individual level. So my opinion is your risk is low. I do think you should be familiar with the law and assess your own risk, but most people are still making their calls. We just can't do it because we're a much bigger prime target for anyone who's looking to enforce TCPA or DNC laws.
I don't know if you got the answer to the question that you asked in the beginning. Is she calling all of them or just first position?
She only called the 8.
But what I'm saying is, were they just the people in the first position, or got through the entire list?
The whole list.
There's only 8 total.
Yeah. And Joyce, you're in Southern California?
In Orange County, California, huh?
Yeah.
Am I putting Keller Williams at risk by if I call?
I don't think so. I mean, you need to sit down and have that conversation with your broker, and you guys can assess that. We do flag it out so it's something that, we don't charge for. It's just another step that we built into our process, so we offer it to you. If your broker is comfortable with, and maybe you talk to, if your firm has an attorney on retainer, talk to them about, what's the legality of reaching out to someone who is a public representative. And the reason you have such a high rate on your list, I mean, in your part of the state, we're scrubbing against state DNC, federal DNC, and the known litigant database. So it's kind of coming from 3 different areas. What we find typically is upwards of 60% of numbers can be flagged. It sounds like you're saying more like 90-some%. That's unusual, but it may just be because more people in Southern California have gotten frustrated and jumped on DNC. But talk to your broker and see. I mean, if he's comfortable with you making the calls, I really don't think you have any risk, because the enforcement is coming from the top down, not the bottom up, if that makes sense. Like the FCC and the FTC, they simply don't have the resources to police 1.4 million realtors. So they're looking at the companies that are, so that's why through our call center we can't do it anymore. But individuals all over the country are continuing to call with no problem.
Joyce, I've told the story before. I used to coach for Mike Ferry, and one of my coaching clients got a letter from the FCC saying, it's come to our attention that you may be calling people on the do not call list. We don't have the manpower to investigate individual complaints. If you're doing it, please stop. I mean, that was the consequence, So it's one of those, it's a really tricky situation because we can't really legally advise you one way or the other. We just give you the information. But just to reinforce what Chad said, to our knowledge over the last 6 years, our agents have made about 5 million phone calls and we've never heard of a single complaint. So I think your odds are probably about as good as winning the lottery as they are having a problem. So, have that conversation. So, yeah, I personally, if it was me personally, I would be making the calls, but we can't completely advise you to do that. It's really your decision. We're sorry to kind of be squirrely, but that's kind of the reality of the situation.
So I have to ask a question, because I hopped in and looked into your data while we're on here, and I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing, because I'm seeing the information that's in your system, and I'm looked at all of them, but I'm up to like 15 just kind of starting down the side. And are you seeing that if there's a do not call on any of them, you're just saying that's one I won't call, or are you looking at the other phone numbers as well?
I'm looking at the, like the one that I'm looking at right now, there are 3 phone numbers, and 2 of the 3 have the red asterisk. So I don't call her.
Okay, so are you not calling the one that does not?
I did not call the one that does not because I thought, well, that might be dangerous if the other 2 do.
Yeah, so you can certainly, without a doubt, you should be calling the one that doesn't have an asterisk, because like I said, we are looking at a state, a federal, and a known litigant database. So if I don't think you have any liability whatsoever if you call the ones that aren't flagged. So I understand better now, and Tim, thanks for asking that, for clarifying. So yeah, Joyce, you definitely want to, even if there's 4 numbers and 3 of them are DNC, you should call that the one that's not, for sure.
Okay.
That's why we give you all the numbers that we give you, and I'm delighted you asked the question, because other people may feel the same way. Just because there's one on the do not call list, it doesn't mean that they all are, and that's why we give you the rest. The other thing is, when you're calling the numbers that you're calling, the whole point here is to call, and basically all you're doing, your purpose of this call, let's just assume that the person who's the personal representative is John Doe. It's like, hi, this is Joyce, and I'm just trying to reach John Doe. I'm not even sure this is the right phone number. Is this John? I mean, that's what you're getting through on a lot of this stuff, and you may get a great phone number or whatever, and you can get right to that person from somebody who's not in that first position or anything else. But don't definitely call all the numbers that don't have DNC on them. And I looked through your list. You've got a pretty good count there. We only have 1 or 2 numbers, and they're both on it, but there's a whole bunch of them that aren't.
Okay, well that helps me. That clears up some numbers I can call, but I'm actually thinking that if I go to the broker of my office and ask him, I'm thinking he might say it doesn't matter.
I think you might be right.
That's what most brokers say.
And we just have to be, yeah, and I just reiterate, we're a national company, and we have to be very careful about what we say, and we're definitely not going to encourage you to call anybody on the do not call list. What Chad said is correct. You need to assess your own risk, make your own choices. We give you the phone numbers, and we've done our due diligence by saying, based on our data, this person is on the do not call list. And, you know, the issue is, how do you contact someone who is in fact the personal representative of an estate? The purpose of that being published information is for creditors to be able to contact that person. So they have a fiduciary responsibility to accept information calls and queries about the estate. That's the whole purpose of that. So it's definitely a gray area, but we're doing our job to cover our behinds.
Well, I appreciate that, because I can't think of how many how many I called before I had the do not call on it. But I'm inclined to go with your opinion. I will ask my broker just for good measure.
Perfect. Appreciate it. All right, next up, we got a bunch of people in the queue. There's still room for more. Hit *6 and hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 5638. You're up next. Are you there? 5638. Did I get the right number?
Yep.
I can hear you. Unmute us if you're there. Phone number ending in 5638. All right. Just hit *6 and hit 1 again, and you'll go to the bottom of the queue. Who's up next, Tim? What number?
Hang on, I'll get there. 0146.
0146. You're up.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yes.
Okay. My question is there a different approach when you're making calls with estates that are like over 500,000, 600, 700,000? Because sometimes I'm not getting success with those.
Be more specific. Where's it falling apart?
Well, you know, I'll send out the letter, okay, asking if they need help. I mean, I'm getting people that respond when their price range are like, you know, 160 or so. But in the 500,000 price range, okay, or up, it's like, how dare you call, you know? Can't you see that we're grieving? You know, it's almost like they have the funds. They don't really, you know, they could do this themselves. And one guy even tore off the front page of my letter thing and mailed it back and said, do you chase ambulances also? So I just wanted to know, do you find, or have you found, that there could be a little bit different approach, the higher price range of the estate?
So I'll point to, just because I'm so familiar with his business, I'll point to one of our subscribers, Bill. He's in a market where his median is around $1 million. Okay. And trusts are very common. I would say that, you know, a county with 2 million people is getting 35 leads because people with affluent folks typically have a living trust. But the ones that do get probated, he is consistently closing 5 or 6 a month in that price range. And his approach is no different than what we teach. He focuses on people and situation, not real estate. And once he understands the people and the situation they're in and who the decision makers are, in learning that, he gathers enough personal information that he knows what their problems are and what his solution should be. So if you're going in as a realtor or as an investor and you're going straight to the real estate conversation, if I had to guess, I would say you're doing that. Are you?
Not necessarily. You know, sometimes they'll say, is this about real estate? And my response will be, I'm not sure if you even have real estate. I'm just trying to call and offer services. And sometimes that will calm them down. But sometimes
Sure.
I think that they get enough. I'm finding that they get so many calls. I don't know if people are searching obituaries, or I don't know if anybody else is subscribing to the same lead list as I have with all the leads. But I think that some of them are just so overwhelmed with the calls. I'm just tired of you people is what I'll hear.
Sure. So this is like what you're getting is no different than the "we have it handled" objection. That's just a nicer way to blow you off. And we talk about this pretty often now because this is becoming a more competitive space. Last week's Mastermind call, I think, we covered this as well. But you can, you know, what's happening, and this is the reason we stay away from real estate in the beginning of the conversation. We stay away from labeling ourselves and we try to focus on people, not real estate, until we've built rapport. Because they're in a pattern and they're just simply not listening to you. It doesn't matter if you said supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. They're not even hearing you because they think that you're just like the last person that called. So what we find to be effective is you have to be kind of abrupt and interrupt that pattern, so then they're listening, and you got to differentiate yourself from everyone else. So, for example, where they said, when you tried to open the conversation and they said, well, wait a minute, are you just calling about real estate? You can say something like, actually, no, I was calling about you. And then follow it up with, let the awkward silence hang, because that's where the magic is. So they're going to process for a second, and then they're going to ask you a question. And what is that? That's engagement. And that's what we're looking for. If we can just get them to engage with us and let them blow off some of their ego steam, then typically they'll open up and they'll vent and say, my gosh, these people are driving me flipping crazy. They're offering us 40 cents on the dollar. This house is worth $700,000 and some asshole offered us $350. And they'll start to blow off steam. But again, that's engagement. And you just become a good listener and hear their pain points and then start to layer in value and say, well, listen, it's some people, there is a need for that, and some people find value in selling at a discount to get it done quickly. Obviously, it's not the case for you. I think that, there's a lot of things we could talk about. Most families, in your situation, the biggest problem is making sure that you get the most amount of equity out of the personal property, that we're not throwing away things of value. And you start to layer in stories about how you can help with the personal property. You can help them, with moving funds, like when they get their distribution, you can help them set up wealth plans like a family that has a $700,000 piece of real estate should have had a living trust. And they're now feeling the pain of that. So the value you can bring of offering to help them avoid this for any future generation, that's another thing. So you just kind of listen and layer in value, and then eventually you'll get to a point where they're ready, like you're having a normal conversation, and you can say, listen, I know that the real estate's a touchy subject, but it's the biggest problem for 9 out of 10 of our clients. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Is that okay? And then you segue, and now you're having a real estate conversation.
That's basically, I wanted the wording of how, because it caught me off guard and I just didn't think fast enough, but I like how you said, no, actually, I'm calling to see how I can help you. That makes
so
it like
do me a favor, do you usually come to our role play calls? Have you been on those?
I haven't yet, but we will schedule to try to be on that.
Okay, in the meantime, so go to alltheleads.com, and in the top right, you'll see a global search bar. Right. And type in, we have it handled, we've got it handled, our attorney has it handled. Try a couple different search terms. What it's going to bring up are blog posts and role play calls where we've role played these in long form. And I would encourage you to listen to at least 2 or 3 variations of that where we go through, because I kind of take more time and explain more of the psychology when we're in a role play. We've got 7 or 8 people in the queue, so I don't want to jump into a 20-minute role play, but the resources are there for you. Like, this conversation has been recorded and archived, so go look at those role play archives and listen to like the full form of this, and I think you'll you'll build your language around it. But humor can be really effective, even just saying something really awkward, like when people say, we've got it handled, just say, ha ha, the famous words of my best clients. And you're kind of being a smart ass, but it works, right? Because it gets them to jump out of that pattern and be like, well, what do you mean your best clients? Then you start to tell stories and give examples of what you can do. But jump in those role plays and listen to some of those long form role plays, and I think you'll get clear on what you can do.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, excellent. Hey, David Pannell, we had a great story. If you're on the call, hit *6 and hit 1. We'd love to have you share your success this week. Next up in the queue is phone number ending in 8566. You're up next. Are you there? 8566.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi. So my husband and I are both on the call. We're interested in we're doing some investing, and I'm also a licensed agent. We have a sales representative that's working with us, but we're trying to stack up the money because she informed us that our city is the most expensive one in the nation. So with that being said, we had a couple questions. So we're in Philadelphia, PA. We're wondering if you've had any students in the past through Philly, and if so, what the results were. But the other part of the question is, we were thinking, and we did discuss with the sales rep about maybe buying previous month so there wouldn't be such a wait for the leads to start coming in. But she was concerned about us getting overwhelmed. So since we're still waiting and saving right now, we're wondering maybe it might be an idea that we might be able to get all our other ducks in a row so that we're not as overwhelmed if we were to sign up for the previous month. So I know it was pretty detailed, so if you need to ask me, let me know.
So we've certainly had success in Philly, both from an investment and a brokerage standpoint. Unfortunately, you know, we don't do contracts, much less long-term contracts now. So people come and go as their business ebbs and flows. So we're not, you know, we haven't kept everybody there, but I know that I have coached at least 2 people in that market that have done really well, one from an investment standpoint, and one from a brokerage position. So it definitely does work there. You've got really high lead counts, and that translates into a lot of opportunity. As far as what I'm hearing you say, you're not sure what to do first. You're eager to get started. You're thinking about historical. And kudos to the salesperson for being honest with you. A lot of folks do get 2 or 3 months historical, and then they just are like a deer in the headlights. They're like, what are we going to do with 1,500 leads? And they just never get started. So you be realistic about what you can handle and how prepared you are. The first thing you can do is, you know, go through, if you want to get signed up, you know, you'll have a few days until you get a few days to a week before you get your first set of leads. That's a great time to focus on the fast track training, which is the first thing you'll see when you log in. Tom will do an orientation call with you to kind of help you understand all the pieces of everything we will do for you. And then next, you want to pick the letters that you're comfortable with, get them uploaded into the system and ready. So when your leads come in, everything triggers off and you're off to the races. You can get on the phones. If you get all that done in a couple of days and you feel comfortable and like you have more ambition, or you're still that ambitious, then I would say take 1 month of historical leads, because you are in such a big county and it's your first campaign. You know, pull down 500 and go ahead and get on the phones, get some letters out there. But I would focus on, you know, get signed up, focus on the fast track training, listen to a couple of the archived role play calls so you feel comfortable on the phones. And you know, if you feel like we're ready, like we're not waiting another 5 days, then pull down that historical file and get to work. But she gave you good sound advice, he or she. Like 3 months historical in Philly is probably going to be overwhelming right now.
And you got to be able to make sure that when you start, you've got the ability to, as Chad said, you know, you got to look at your budget and say, okay, so I know that it's going to cost me, you know, some money to get some letters out to follow up on, and I've got my time involved in this and all, and you just kind of need to, you know, put a time and money budget together and then apply that to what you can afford to do.
Thank you. And just one last little piece. So I know that we have to have somewhat of a team in place as far as, you know, having like some clean out people and some other professionals. Is that something maybe we could work on while we're waiting to get enough money to start?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, and the team, that you never stop building your team. You'll always meet people that can bring value to the families in this situation. So, but kind of a basic team is contractors, clean out crews, you know, obviously people you probably already use and you already know, estate sale companies, and you can go to, you know, senior moving companies, nursing home employees, anyone, registered investment advisors, family law attorneys, probate attorneys, anyone who is helping families in transition or families after a family member passes are good team members, because they understand that, you know, that part of the business, serving those people. So you probably know a lot of them already, but it's certainly a good, if you intend to do this, to go out and build your team. Say, listen, we're going to put our flag in the sand. We're building the Philly Dream Team, and we're going to help as many families as we can. We need a lender that we can trust, a contractor we can trust, a moving company we can trust. And that's all good proactive work that you can do even before you get leads, is start building out your strategy first.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We have 4 more in the queue, guys. We'll probably close the queue in about 2 minutes, so jump in there now if you do have a question or something you'd like to share. If you have a win, we still don't have a win of the week. We're hoping David would jump in. He might be busy taking another listing, but next up is phone number ending in 2473. You're up next. 2473, are you there? All right, we got some secret agents this week. Who's up next, Tim?
That would be 9711.
9711, you're up next.
Hey, this is James.
Hey, James.
Hey, real quick, I have a question for you. I have a client that the will has 2 people. Excuse me, I just had a tooth extracted. But I have
Is this going to be one of those YouTube videos where you're going to say something embarrassing and we can post because you're still under anesthesia?
It could be.
Okay.
Well, there are 2 people's names on the will, and there's one personal representative. The personal representative wants to sell the property, but they can't find the other person on the will, nor does that person want to have anything to do with the property. I put them in touch with a probate lawyer. Is that the right thing to do?
That is the right thing to do, and you do need a release from that person, or you need a death certificate and a release from their heirs. And I've had to deal with this many times. I've had as many as 5 estranged siblings on a single deal. And sometimes it can be, there's a little bit of cat herding. This is where it's really important to have a really good title company and attorney that can help you kind of chase this stuff down. Now, all that said, you have contact with the personal representative, and you can sign a contract or sign a listing agreement now. They have the authority to list and sell the real estate. If it requires court approval, then it'll have to go back to court, and before you can close the chain of title, you're going to have to track down the other heir, as long as, depending on how the will reads. But the probate attorney will read the specific language in the will and can give you some guidance on what your next best step is. But typically it's a 50-50 in the will, unless it was a special circumstance. Typically a will will be written 50% to sibling A, 50% to sibling B. And if they're estranged, then sibling B needs to agree to take some cash and sign a release to close the property. And it's usually not hard to do once you get a hold of them and you kind of become the mediator, but you will need to do that.
Okay, and well, they haven't heard from this other person that's on the will for a couple years, and they're guessing that they are expired.
If that's the case, then their estate also comes into play. So if they died, for example, if they died intestates, meaning they didn't have a will, but they had 5 kids, now the 5 kids are entitled to half of the estate you're working on. So now you have to go track down each of those 5 kids and either give them what they're due or get a release signed. They're going to have to sign paperwork in order to close the real estate, and then they're going to be, they're due whatever distribution was due to the other heir before they died.
Okay.
So they're usually not that hard. It just takes a little bit of time. If you have the right attorney, they'll do all the work for you, so you're not spending your time tracking down people.
Okay.
But what I would recommend is, is the property vacant and ready to go to market?
Yes.
I would recommend go ahead and get it signed now. So you may as well be sorting this out while you've got a buyer on the hook. Just make sure that the buyer's agent understand, or the investor understands, and that you write in a contingency for them. You know, this is contingent upon probate court approval. Or what state are you in?
I'm in your state. I'm in Virginia.
Okay, so you don't need court approval, but make sure that you have a closing date that allows a timeline to find those people, and make sure the buyer's agent understands, you know, we don't have a known title issue, but we do have kind of we have some missing people that have to sign closing paperwork. And just make sure you don't, you know, put a 30-day closing on it and then miss the buyer's expectations and burn the buyer. Just be really transparent with them.
And I was going to suggest, if it was me, I'd probably take a 1-year listing. I mean, that's not unreasonable, because you don't want to put a lot of months of time and effort into this and then, you know, have another agent come in or an investor come in and undercut you. Take a particularly long listing, and they should certainly understand why.
Okay.
All right, sir, and good luck with the tooth healing. You did good.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we got an awesome testimonial coming up next. We heard the story. David, you're up next. David Pannell.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Can hear you great. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, so we love the leads from you guys. Obviously, we buy a lot of them. We are actively always prospecting every morning for 4 hours. And I came in Saturday. We couldn't get a hold of one guy, and it was a probate. And they were just filing probate to get the ownership into the husband's name for whatever reason. But he mentioned that he's not selling his house, but he had a church to get rid of. And we blew it off. Well, actually, we called him on Wednesday. And my guy said, hey, do we buy churches? And I was like, not really. And then somehow he ended up in our appointment set follow-up folder. And just randomly got on the calls on Saturday. Not randomly, but called that folder out of 44 people. And he's like 21 on the list, and we ended up going out the same day and writing a contract, and they accepted on the spot.
So the church isn't actually in probate, but you were focused on people, and he happened to have that as well.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, like, is it just a vacant church, and is it still set up as a church, or is it a lot of deferred maintenance? Like, what's your disposition strategy on it?
We're going to wholesale it. We'll probably close on it, actually, with some hard money, and then position it on MLS, or it's a commercial property but exempt for charitable, non-charitable entities. Mm-hmm. So it's a new realm for me, but I'm sure we could deal with it. We'll probably just submit the application to release the non-charitable in the county or in the city, and then it becomes just straight commercial property, and then it could be sold, I imagine, as is, and it's worth about $180, and we're buying it for $50.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called those wholesales, like, because it was we basically were closing and then wholesaling on MLS. So we branded those wholesale deals. We did quite a few, and you can always get a higher price if you just close on it and get it out there with more exposure.
Right.
That's awesome. So your first church is that you got that under your belt. What's next?
Oh, we set 4 appointments today. So
nice.
My last call of the day after I dialed through 87 numbers. We're actually, you guys talked about that one lady. Are you talking about 1,500 leads? We never delete our probate leads. We just put them in unanswered. Yep. And then every quarter, at the end of quarter, we'll go and voicemail drop and then audit the leads by going back through them as a whole team. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. And we set 4 appointments for unanswered probates just today. And I'm going to go buy a house that's worth $144 today. We'll probably pick it up for $65.
Nice. And those are 3-4 month old leads, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting a house with that deep of a discount 4 months from the time they filed. Everybody pay attention.
The time we bought the lead from you guys, so yeah.
Yeah. So everybody who's on here wholesaling, feeling like you're behind the 8 ball and you have to get it done in week 1, pay attention. Like, there's still deals, even at deep discounts, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 months down the road. And it's about what the work you put into it, right, David?
Yeah, but just like I said, I dialed through 88 numbers and I put tick marks on these, and 50 of them were already sold or they are not selling. And then I had like 23 unanswered again. So I only had one. Well, I had a couple pick up, but they're all no's. Right before I was supposed to meet one of my guys for going over comps, I get a hold of this lady, and she's like, yeah, I want to offer today. I was like, all right, cool. We'll be out there.
I will give you
I'll
one.
come help you out.
So how many new leads each month are you guys getting, David?
I don't even know.
I don't either. I should be looking.
Well,
how many
Liz
counties?
buys
How many,
them on her
how
side,
many
and then I
counties?
filter them.
Yeah, how many counties?
I think we're doing 5.
Okay, so you have 5 counties, and you're averaging what, 6, 7 deals a month now?
No, more than that. We're getting super organized now. So we did go through a little bit of a low because we moved offices in April. So I expanded my call station to 12 stations, and then
And David, you're buying and you're listing them. You're doing both, right?
Yeah. So like, it's all about the people, right?
Right.
So we got into this in the beginning. I remember talking to you guys almost 2 years ago, and I was nervous about buying the numbers. I was nervous about calling people in probate. I thought it would be weird. And then I just started looking into it, and I've been a big expired for sale by owner guy, probably for the last 5 or 6 years. So this is just cake to me.
Yeah, it's fish in a barrel compared.
Yeah. So once we got the handle of it, can't remember your question, but
No, I just wondered what percentage are you buying versus listing? I know you're doing both.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was reading your comments, and I think you said you're averaging 6 or 7 buys and 3 or 4 listings. Is that a month?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
So far, we've closed, I think, 40 deals in probate this year.
How many?
40 and a half.
Wow.
So you're on track to do 80
44
for the year.
We're going to do 145 deals this year.
Have you guys done the math on your return,
agents.
David?
What's that?
You seem like you got a good handle on business. Have you looked at the ROI, like what you spent versus what you've put back in the door in revenue?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you guys pronounce on the website, the, what is it, 20 to 1? And if so we're hitting them on all angles, and we're calling them or auditing them. We're not deleting them. We have letters going out to every single one of them that say yes. We don't try to mail to the ones that say no. And then we're retargeting them, so on Facebook and YouTube.
So you got a 20 to 1 return, and on track to do 100 plus deals this year.
Yeah, but they're not listings at all. They're about, we do just as much cash deals or more on wholesaling and wholesaling.
It sounds like you're getting massive spreads on those too, like 130 grand on the one. Like
yeah, we're following up with them for 6 months, so they really love us by the time they meet us.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's
awesome.
Not a quick deal. Most of these people on the calls, it's not a quick deal, and the realtors that are calling, they really need to expand their mind on the opportunities that you guys are giving people.
Yeah. It's
really
tough. We have to break. It's hard to break a lot of those FSBO expired habits. It's really good. If you're open to it, I would love to do, just you and I do like a Zoom interview where we can talk a little bit more about that, because so many realtors that came from where you came from that had built those habits, and they had so much positive reinforcement that they have to be Chad from ABC Real Estate, KW1234, like they have that script down, and it just shoots them in the foot. Where if they can just open their mind and focus on the people, they'll have 10 times the opportunity. But it's hard to unlearn habits that have made you successful, and just for one lead type, some people never get there. But if you're willing to do it for the benefit of everybody, I'd like to just, you and I have a conversation about it, and, just do a quick video and kind of help folks.
Sure.
And thank you for showing up and sharing. I mean, I wanted to hear about the church story, but I think the bigger takeaway here, guys, is the consistency that David and Liz have, because they follow the system and they put in the work. They just do it every day. It's systematic.
And David, I
Well,
want to thank you also.
I have a business coach, and we'll spend the whole year going deep on this one pillar. You know, it's not about getting into it and getting the leads from you guys and just not do anything with it. We have to explore how do you drive it so deep that like I'm writing emails that are, I'm going 30 letters and 30 deep on ones that are not responding. So it's just a matter of these leads are expensive. They're not expensive as Zillow or other sources, but I'd rather know that I have a listing on the other end or a cash buy. And,
I'm betting, does this probate list have a higher ROI than any other campaign you guys have done?
Oh, yeah, with ease.
Yeah,
That's why we're focusing on it so much. I mean,
we've
you guys
all,
just paid for my office. I was able to spend close to $60,000 on fitting out an office space, and that's all because of these leads. So it's
That's
not
awesome.
the one that just got on the phone and said they can't afford it. You need to go sell your furniture, sell your car, get down to one car. I tell people when I was going through a coaching, I was on stage for Sell by Owners and on Kevin Ward's coaching, and sorry to mention somebody, but I was like, man, just sell everything you do, get 2 or 3 months of leads, and there's at least 7 deals in there.
Yeah.
And those 7 deals are going to be about $70,000 for you. So
we have that conversation with folks a lot. It's again, it's a mindset thing. Like, people are like, well, why don't you give me the leads for a month, and then when I make money, then I'll pay you to subscribe. And it's like, at some point, you've got to commit, right? Like, you've got to commit to it. Do you want to work with a proven system, or you just want to make excuses? It's really, I'm really happy to have you here and have everyone else have the opportunity to hear. You've got the right mindset. You got it dialed in, and if you're willing to share more about your story, we'll try to set up a video and capture that for everybody's benefit.
And David, I just wanted to thank you. You got my attention on our Facebook group. Every time somebody answers a question or has an objection, you've been jumping in and answering it before we could.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I love it. Don't be sorry. That's awesome. I love your enthusiasm.
And I want to say something. I want to say something too. As I don't understand the probate process. I've never been to the court. I hate to give this out, but I've never really. I need to dig deep into the process, like y'all have, and I'm going to in the next 6 months. But we just jumped in and got in front of people, and then did listing presentations or cash offers. So you don't have to know everything either.
Pretty simple. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you got the win of the week. I know that's how if anybody thinks they can beat that. We can't thank you enough. And anybody who was kind of inspired by David today, we are going to do a case study, and we'll post that on the site, and we'll send it out to everybody in the next few weeks. Chad will get on the phone with them. And I can't thank you enough for your encouragement. I'm sure you inspired a lot of people.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you guys very much.
All right,
you guys helped us.
Thank you. Keep coming back.
Yeah.
Wow, we got a bunch in the queue. We're going to do our best to get to everyone. Next up is phone number ending 7448. You're up next.
I asked a question earlier. I don't think I re-put myself in line, so go to the next person.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, you bounced back in there. All right, next up is phone number ending in 3605. You're up next.
Hi there. This is Joyce Morrison. I've already asked my question. Thank you, though.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. So no wonder we have so many people in the queue. How about, I think 5638 has already gone also, right?
Yes.
All right. How about 8566?
Yes.
All right. For some reason, our queue refilled with everybody who had spoken. 9711?
Yes.
All right. 4433?
That's a new one.
All right. We finally got to the new ones. 4433. You're up next.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
My name is Christy. I work out of Southern Nevada, and I went to one of your seminars a year ago or so. I just got my first real, I'm gonna get the listing. Of course, I pulled back out my notebook. I've been going through everything, and now it's all in the details once it gets real when you're about to, get the listing. So I almost feel like maybe I'm calling the wrong number because I have very basic questions. Is there another number I should call and not, so everyone doesn't have to hear all of my very basic questions, or at another
Yeah,
time?
so
Or
if you just want to call the main line, on alltheleads.com in the top right, that's our main support line. And you can call in, and whoever's best suited to answer your questions, Cindy will, or Rachel will get you to the right person.
Do you have that number handy?
But I don't.
It is 1-844-LEAD-FOX, and what numbers is that? 1-844
532
532
3369.
3369.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
All right,
it.
and thank you for your consideration.
We don't call ourselves that often. Sorry, Christy.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, caller ending 4706. 4706. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Caller ending in 5574.
Can you guys hear me?
5574.
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay. Just let me know if I need to get off my speakerphone. I'm driving. But I'm driving around to the attorney's offices with my newly received brochures, and just wanted to hear Dad do basically the what he would do at an attorney's office or at a retirement community office.
Sure. So what you want to focus on, kind of the same points of, that you would focus on with a personal representative. Excuse me. But with attorneys, did you pull the list based on how many cases they're handling this month, or you're just visiting randomly, or tell me what your approach is?
I've got them ranked for the number of cases they've filed over the last 3 months.
Perfect.
So
then
I'm just going to the top ones today.
Yeah, so you've got the information you need to pump up their ego. So when you come in, just say, listen, we have a team of folks here locally that help families with everything non-legal and probate, and we noticed that you guys have done 12 cases over the last 3 months and are working with the same folks as we are. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you know there's a service here in the community that handles everything that you guys can't handle for the families. Would John Doe have 5 minutes to sit down and chat? And typically that's going to create enough curiosity, they'll commit to a 5-minute meeting, and then you'll be there an hour later because they've never spoken to somebody offering what you're offering.
Right.
And really the same thing in the nursing home, family law attorneys, they just having them understand that you have a vertically integrated solution that covers everything that they don't. So if you can use the wheel analogy, so we're the hub, and our spoke that we monetize might be brokerage or investment, but we have all these other spokes that families need, and we're looking for partners that we can send you business and you can reciprocate. And the script doesn't change that much between your vendor partners, because you're essentially just adding them as a spoke in your wheel, and you're providing value to them and they're reciprocating. And once they understand that, it's usually a really easy conversation.
Right. So the brochure that I got is the one with the hub of the wheel, and then it also says, seeking an excellent probate attorney, use mine. So I can use that as a hook to say, hey, look, not only am I'm looking to how I can help your business and make you one of my spokes in the wheel. So
yeah. What market are you in?
I'm outside Philadelphia.
Okay. Have you looked to see how many of your cases do not have probate attorneys appointed?
Just going through the leads, it looks like about 50%.
Okay, that's high. So that's actually in your favor, because those 50%, more likely than not, will need an attorney before they finish the process. They might not have admitted that yet or realized it. So
Okay.
if the probate attorneys you're meeting with, if they haven't gone to the courthouse and done the research, that can be a huge value piece. You have the list. You can offer to co-market with them or market for them, or just hand them the list and let them make the calls. But, you can open the door with value. Say, listen, my team is down at the courthouse at least once a month. We pull the data, and what we notice is about half of the families don't even have an attorney. So we're also looking for, when we talk to families who need help, a good attorney, a probate attorney that we can refer them to. The other thing, some ideas that you can consider, if you get a good relationship with these attorneys, you can put together a checklist of all the items required in probate in your state, and let them brand that piece so they can put their name or logo in the footer and color code their the legal aspects of it one color and the non-legal aspects another color, and you guys can co-market together and have a real partnership. And that really gets their attention. If you're willing to go out, to step up and offer that kind of value to try to bring them probate cases with folks that don't have attorneys, then you're opening the door with value before you're asking for referrals.
Right. Cool.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We're probably going to go 5 or 10 minutes over today, guys. We have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 0947. You're up next.
What's going on, fellas? This is Maurice.
Hey, Maurice.
How's it going? So I'm in the D.C. metropolitan area, and I actually have a deal that's pretty much on the table. I'm going to go lock the contract up. It's supposed to be Tuesday, but I'm dealing with a seller who's a little bit older, and she got sick and had to do some other things. But so it's a decent flip. It's a very large spread, actually, probably my largest spread that I'll receive. But the problem is, it's my first time dealing with squatters. And from what I'm hearing, D.C. is the worst when it comes to that situation. What do you guys recommend I do to either pay the squatters off or go about it a way where we won't end up in court for the next 6 months?
Well, help us understand the situation better. Are they family members or holdover tenants that quit paying rent? Like, what are they? Or does anyone know?
She moved out the property. She was a professor at George Mason, so she moved close to the school. And some guy just walked up in the house and has been staying there for a little over a year now. She is in her late 60s and is uncomfortable going to the property. I went to the property to try to speak with him, have a conversation with him, and try not to come too aggressive, but just let him know that I'm in the process of purchasing this property and kind of trying to offer him cash. When I got to the property, a woman came out, which threw another curveball, and I didn't want to walk up toward the woman because that can go either way. I don't know if that is a companion of his, and she may not know about the situation with the house, so I didn't want to inform her or ask her a question about him moving in, and then she goes back to him, and now he comes at me aggressive. So I just got in the car and left.
Good move.
Maybe there's a way I could look up and see the water bills, who's paying the bill, to try to reach out to him over the phone. I'm trying to figure out ways to get in contact with him without spooking his girlfriend or wife.
Sure. So this is someone like a true squatter, not a family member, not a friend, not a tenant, just a total stranger walked in and took over a house.
Yes.
Okay. He did the right thing, because you're right. She might be thinking that he's successful and bought a house, and it could blow the situation up. So good job on walking away until you know more. Has the seller ever had the police approach the tenant or the squatter?
No. So she has a family member who is in the police force, but they came off duty, knocked on the door. He wouldn't open the door. He opened the main door, not the screen door, and talked through the screen. Didn't really respond too much to her, and then closed the door and went back in the house. But the problem is that guy also, her family member who's a police officer, also lives in West Virginia, so he can't come down back and forth. And she is aware that calling the police may not help, because at this point it's not trespassing anymore. You have to actually evict them.
Yeah. So I would say first step would be try to get a cash for keys offer. Go get it under contract first. Like if you're gonna invest time into this, we need to make sure you have a contract with a long closing date. All right, now let me ask you this: do you have the money to close, or are you looking to wholesale this?
I'm actually looking to wholesale this.
Okay, so closing on it and then evicting isn't really an option for you?
Okay.
I'm asking, like you just don't have the cash?
Yeah, nah. I probably could make it work, go through private money lenders and things of that nature. But with the deal that I have, I even thought that an investor would come in and buy it off of me with the squatter in there. I'll just throw quick numbers, like she's asking for high 3s to low 4s, and there's comps in the area, 700,000, one for 900,000. She just wants to get rid of it and get the guy out. So in my mind, I think I could wholesale it with someone in the property, and I think the investor will have no problem going to court for it. So do you think I should play along and put it under contract and then work with her with the court thing, or just try to bring a buyer in and settle like that?
Here's what I think I would do. In the interest of time, we got a couple more in the queue. What I would do first, go get it under contract. Make your closing date like a 90-day closing date if she's comfortable with that, on or before. So that gives you some time and gives you some flexibility. My first play, I would send a letter, or I would hand deliver a letter, like send a piece of certified mail to the house, letting them know that you now have a contractual interest and you're looking for a conversation. See if you can get the guy to get the occupant to call you. And I would, I would send it certified mail, and so you have a record of him receiving that and you requesting a conversation. If he engages with you, find out what his needs are. Find out what the story is. How much money is it going to take? Maybe you can pay a moving company and get it. Find him a place to live. Get him moved. I've never actually dealt with this in this demographic. Like this is typically something that happens with $150,000 or less. The next, if that doesn't work, if he's not willing to work with you there, the next thing I would do is go to your foreclosure buyers. Like if you have a strong cash buyers list, anyone who is buying at the courthouse steps is not going to be afraid of this situation. They've done this before. If you don't have those people on your buyers list, go to the next trustee auction, go to the next foreclosure auction, and meet those people and say, listen, I've got a deal, I'll wholesale it or I'll JV on it, and whatever you want. There could be a good opportunity for you to be a joint venture partner here with someone who is well capitalized and does have experience with this, and you might still be able to make a bigger profit and help and learn from it. Or you're probably right. You can probably just, sell it you're selling at a deep discount. You can find somebody with experience to just take your position and assign it to them. But you want to make sure you give them a long closing window. Don't get them in a 30-day contract, because your assignment fee is only going to be as valuable as the deal you put together. So try to get really good terms that are favorable to the person who has to clean up the mess. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just going to add with those. Yeah, Maurice, I was going to add with that kind of a spread, maybe even make it a longer than 90-day. Give yourself plenty of time, and I would also be ready now with Plan B. Get your hard money together and everything, because, man, with that kind of a spread, I would have no trouble taking a house with a hostile tenant in there, even if it takes you 6 months to get them out and a few thousand in legal fees. You've got a huge back end. It might be more difficult to sell it without having your end buyer. I mean, are you pretty comfortable with the condition of the property? Have you been able to at least determine that there's no major issues that you're going to have to take care of?
I actually haven't been able to get inside of the house because of the squatter, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
As far as the outside walk around, everything looks pretty good.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's a huge payday for you or your investors. So, yeah, get it under contract. You got nothing to lose by getting it under contract.
Let me ask you this. Is it still in the name of the deceased, or is it already transferred to her?
Oh, no, it's not a probate. I'm sorry. She
It's not.
owns
Okay.
it free and clear, no mortgage, anything. She's been paying taxes as well, even though.
Where I was headed with this, you could have an opportunity to step in and have her owner finance it to you. So if it does take 6 months, you can be making small payments to her versus coming up with like risking a big sum of cash. So instead of getting hard money, make her your lender. So she already owns the house. The problem's already hers. She's basically just assigning the problem to you and getting paid on an incremental basis. And you can, even if you just get 1 year owner financing with 30-year amortization, that could put you in a position where you can keep the spread without having to give it away or wholesale it away. You can keep it. You're going to learn something. You'll go through the eviction process and you'll be more valuable and more experienced because of it. But think creatively, because if her problem is she just emotionally wants rid of this and she wants it behind her, you might be able to give her a small down payment, owner finance it, go ahead and close on the damn thing, and then work on getting him out, and then you can retail it and get an even bigger spread. So you got a lot of options here because it's free and clear especially. And if you need additional help, you don't have to wait for these calls. Call into the main line and ask for me or Jim or any of us, and we can help you out with when you get more details.
Okay.
All right, sir. All right. We're going way over today. You last three in the queue. If you could be brief, and if it requires a long answer, we'll call you back and individually deal with you.
You only got one.
Oh, one more in the queue. Okay, good. The last up this week is phone number ending in
4706.
4706. You're up last. Are you there? 4706. I guess not.
Let me try one other that we might have missed along the way here.
All right, we may have one more last person. Go ahead, Tim.
Just give me a second.
Okay, we just had someone jump in, so this will be the last one either way today, guys. I'll let you get back to work. Nope.
You're done.
All right, we are done, guys. Hey guys, thank you so much. Great call. I want to thank everybody who took the time to be here. We did go a little bit long, and most of you are still on the call. Particularly thank the people that actively participated. I cannot thank David Pannell enough. That was a very inspiring call, and we will be posting more details about how he's gotten his amazing results. But I want to challenge each of you. You took the time to be here. Take one thing you heard, one thought, one idea that inspired you. Go out and put it into practice, and like David and a few other people did, come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.